right? It's very easy to get fascinated by, oh, something new has come, so let's read that also. I would say time box, strategize and stick to it.
Probably played the most important role in what I am today.
I would rather hire a person who has done just one project in his CV but gone into very depth of it. Like he knows the in and out of it, built it step by step, experienced it step by step, rather than a person who has six very fancy projects but just using the APIs.
You cannot just be managers, you know. You really have to understand what you are managing to be effective. And that's what I lacked in my first job. Unless you understand, like, how can you build cutting edge technology? And I think that's with everyone who is successful. People are not just successful with doing fancy talks and, you know, high level understanding of things. When you really do the grunt work is when you really understand and you become an expert in that.
Over the years and being close to data, I would say, it has built an intuition in general that this is how any problem where data is involved, AI is involved, has to be structured. Maybe the underlying algorithms, I would say I'm a practitioner of AI as of now. I'm not an expert, I'm not a researcher to say, but I know intuitively that this is what we might need to do, and I get it done. Hey everyone, welcome to Democratizing AI. In this channel, we'll be talking about how AI is transforming our lives and society. We'll be talking to seasoned AI experts from different industries in the coming episodes. As a first guest, we have Sudarshan Kamath with us. So let's welcome him. Hi Sudarshan, how are you?
Hey Akshat, I'm great. Thank you so much for inviting me on the show. I think it's a real pleasure, and hopefully we'll have a really interesting, constructive discussion today about AI as a career and how it is going to affect society in general.
So today we'll be, I just wanted to touch base on how you feel AI has gained a popularity, or I would say importance in our lives, how it is touching base with our lives on a day-to-day basis, how it is transforming our society as a whole. And as someone who has experienced it up close, who has worked with it, deployed it in production, I just want you to talk about how you ended up here, what was your journey, and how you feel AI in coming years can transform our society for good or bad, and how do we handle this as a tool or as a revolution, I would say. So I would say let's start with a short intro of what's your background, where do you come from, maybe.
Yeah. So I come from Pune, born in Mumbai, brought up in Pune, fairly middle class upbringing, got into IIT, very like a lot of luck, hard work also, but then luck also played an important role. Was really not sure I'm going to end up doing AI. I mean, literally had no idea. I wanted to become an actor or something, right? But I ended up here, and it was a very twisted journey. You know, it was not like in 10th standard I was clear, look, boss, I need to do AI. And I'm now going to dedicate my life. I'm going to get into the top college. I'm going to get into a job like a data scientist, and then I'm going to, I don't know.
So I think we'll go into this a bit detail later in the episode, but I just wanted to know, like, you have come from there. Where do you work as of now? What do you do on a day-to-day basis currently?
Yeah, so I am currently starting my own company in AI.
Okay.
So we are going to focus on some really exciting AI products which can help make lives of businesses easier. Previously, I used to work as a lead product manager at a legal tech company. It's one of India's leading legal tech companies called Vakil Search. And before that, I used to work as a senior data scientist in self-driving vehicles at Bosch. And I started off like from college, joining what is now Byju's. But during its early days, like there was this small company which it has acquired called Topper.com.
Okay.
So I used to be part of the product team over there. So yeah, like
so this has been a diverse experience across various industries. But if I ask you, how would you describe yourself as a person apart from work? I mean, maybe in a lines or two, like at a philosophical level, I would say.
very confused, at least used to be very confused. I mean, maybe the past 1 or 2 years is when the clarity has come about what you want to do in life. But before that, confused, but also egoistic that we'll figure it out. You know, like it's not like I'm confused, I'm okay to stay confused, I'll take what life's giving. Have to figure it out and tried many things to do that. Like tried many things pre college, post college, during work, everything just explored, went breadth first, and then now I have some clarity on this is what I want to do.
Okay, so let's talk about you mentioned right pre-college, post-college. So how did you ended up deciding that you would go for appearing for IIT, and let's talk about it. How was your preparation? What led into deciding that you would appear for that examination?
So generally, I was interested in science. Like that was very clear. I think when I was studying, like in 10th standard, etc., all the other subjects were very not that exciting, and particularly math and physics is something I really liked. So math and physics was something the preparation to JEE offered, you to become an expert in math and physics. So I loved that journey, and that's why I kind of started preparing for it. At no point did I think I would end up in an IIT. I mean, it was probably towards the very end that I had some sort of confidence, but I think that has probably played the most important role in what I am today.
So can you describe this in a bit more detail? Like what qualities you developed during that preparation that has helped you till date? Or what is it something very specific to everyone who prepares for that exam?
I think, of course, the fundamental skills about doing math quickly, understanding how to solve and structure a problem is important. But the most important thing I think is how do you approach a really hard problem which cannot be solved in a single day over a long duration of time? How do you strategize about it? Look, this is what I'm going to solve in the next 1 year, next 2 years. And I now come up with a strategy and I execute it, daily I execute it. And that carries over in any project which you do in life. So you got the success, so that means your strategy worked. And now you try to replicate that strategy across any project you come in life.
So basically the deconstruction of a problem into atomic things and then executing it in a structured manner.
Yeah.
So I think that's a quality you would say that came through and has been with you and has helped you in achieving successes across different roles.
Absolutely. But one thing is, see, I mean, if you look at AI in particular, like I could have done a similar thing as a maybe chartered accountant, right? Like that's also a fairly tough exam to crack. But the difference here was we are fundamentally talking about building things and solving a hard problem by building things, constructing things, which is different from other fields where, in commerce, you're not really building things, you are trading and stuff like that. So that really helped, the idea that we want to build new exciting things. We have a vision of, look, this is what I want the future to look like, and this should be my contribution to it.
So basically creating things. Okay. So this was while you were preparing for JEE and your experience about it. But how was your in-college experience? Like after you got into IIT, what was something that you developed apart from what quality you had through the preparation? How did the 4 years of, I think there was 4 years of BTech, right?
Yeah.
So then how did those 4 years transform you as a person?
So one thing which we didn't have, I think, as a part of a middle class family is the freedom to explore various things, right? Like you have ki boss अच्छे कॉलेज में जाना है, you have to go to a good college, वहाँ पे अच्छे मार्क्स लाने हैं, टॉप जॉब लेना है, करोड़ प्लस पैकेज चाहिए, राइट? सो वो चीज़, that pressure went off a little once you went into college, and it was always about exploring new things. Like in college, I felt a lot of people came with this that I have decided, look, I want to get a software engineering job out of these 4 years of college. So I'm going to spend the next 4 years doing exactly this. I'm going to do competitive programming. I'm going to become the best at competitive programming. I'm going to practice a lot of interviews. At the end of 4 years, I'll crack the Microsoft interview and I'll go into Microsoft.
So basically, you're saying that there are broadly two types of people: one who are more into explorative side, who are kind of exploring, and then there is one who is more focused. But so let's talk about what all did you explore, and then which one do you feel is a better approach, or I would say not better. Each one has its own pros and cons. As someone who has experienced it, but I would say how that helped you in the coming years of your professional journey. So this exploration phase. So let's talk about a bit. What all did you explore? How that is helping you now?
Yeah, so I have always felt like I am unique. I want to be unique. Even if I'm not, I want to be unique. I want to find out who I am. And my JEE, like the way I got in, I think I was not as serious as a lot of people who got in. And when I came to college, I realized people are even more serious here. People are, they have decided, like this is what I want to do. For me, it was not like that. I cannot, how do I decide? Like what data do I have to say that, look, this is what I want to do? So I literally explored everything which came in my path, which I felt was interesting. I did anchoring. I had a radio show. I played basketball. I didn't know what courses were good, what courses were bad. So I tried to study whatever I liked. Like I liked, I like solid mechanics. So I studied solid mechanics. I liked thermodynamics was my favorite subject in pre-JEE times. So really studied thermodynamics. Am I doing thermodynamics right now? No. But in this process, I explored finance. I did my CFA level 1. I explored competitive coding as well. Hated it. Realized this is not what I want to do. It's an interesting thing to do as a passion, as a hobby, not for interviews. And finally, I think while doing this at that time, there was this whole field of computer vision which was coming up, which is essentially making computers understand photos and videos, right? And deriving insights. Like today, your iPhone has that face recognition and portrait mode and all those things, right? Like those things were being developed, and have been improving over.
So when was this period? I mean, if you can.
This was back in, I think, 2016, 2017.
Okay, so very early ages of computer vision AI.
Yeah.
Like it didn't kick off. At that point.
Yeah. So I think that time we started exploring. I really liked it. Like it was like I could manipulate images. Like it was cool. Was I really sure I wanted to do this? Absolutely not. I was super confused still. I was totally exploring, but I got an internship in that, and I went for that internship to Korea. We built like some prototype self-driving vehicles. In hindsight, if I look at it, we did a very weird, shady job at it. But then I think it really helped give that initial confidence boost. But to answer your question, I didn't have my answer that this is AI which I want to explore. But maybe that's different to what you experience.
So coming from similar backgrounds, right? We have been together, like we studied together in IIT Guwahati, same branch, I would say. So, but I think my approach towards this journey of getting into IIT and the experience also 4 years has been a bit contrasting. So I was kind of the other part that you mentioned, like who was super focused on the direction they want. So I think your exploration was more on you explored different directions and then you picked one that, okay, this is something I might like more. But I was like, I knew the direction. I didn't know exactly, like I had a vague direction kind of thing. So this was before IIT. I wanted to build smart machines. I think that's how.
Even before college.
Yeah. So that was like way 10th, 9th, way back. And that's when I decided, okay, I was asking around people like, where is the best education for this? And they suggested IIT. So, okay, let's do it.
So you were sure you want to go to an IIT, like, or you focused yourself. At
Yeah,
least.
so I just asked what is the best place to study this, and then they said, okay, this is an exam which gets you to the best colleges in our country, and I was like, okay, let's do it. I got into it. Yeah, I think that was also a preparation is a journey in itself, right? But yeah, I mean, even after getting into college, I was like, okay, I want to build machines and provide them intelligence in some sense. I want to make them smart. I want to make my everyday life easier. As a child, I had that dream, and that's what I wanted to manifest in college.
Do you think, let's say you had not gone through that JEE journey, okay, you had not been through that phase where now you are an IITian, you have actually cracked that thing. Do you think you would have the confidence or even the skill set to do what you're doing right now? Do you think you'll be a different person?
So this preparation of JEE, right, and clearing it kind of, as you said, right, it gives you a confidence that your strategy of problem solving is working. So in essence, I would say JEE is more about problem solving very fundamentally, if it comes down to that, and how you are deconstructing complex problems. For a 12th year, for a student who's in 12th or high school, it's a difficult problem and their job is to deconstruct it and get an answer. So it kind of validates getting through JEE. So it really gives you that confidence that your problem solving, as you said, right, earlier, it validates your approach. So it really gives you confidence, that's for sure. And that also gives you a safety net, or I would say to risk out and go chase your dreams in the college.
If I say that has been the most important aspect to you being who you are right now, would I be stretching myself, or do you think that was the most like jump in your skill set, confidence, everything?
So partly yes, I would say that that's a fundamental stepping stone onto building more concrete personality traits that lead you to success. But that's like a fundamental stone, and that obviously is very important.
Yeah, I mean, of course, I think there will be people who have not given JEE and who are brilliant, and they.
So I'm not saying that clearing just gives you that validation, right? But that preparation in itself, you obviously need to have luck. Like it's like a very small percentage get in. So obviously you have to be lucky. That day has to be good. Maybe on the exam day you are not feeling good. Those type of things can also happen, right? But that preparation and that confidence that my preparation had been good, just the day was not good, or maybe the luck was not good. If that understanding comes in, right, it's a bit hard for maybe if I look back to myself in 12th, it's very hard to contemplate that, okay, my strategy was good, but other things happened which were not in my control. So at least I would say that preparation or going through that phase.
So any sort of similar preparation.
Yeah.
And in college, you were saying you were very different than me. You were more structured. Look, this is what I want to do, and I have 4 years for it. So I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
Do this.
So coming back to what I was saying, right? I wanted to build smart machines. So machines which have intelligence, who can make my day-to-day life easy. And so first of all, machines is an integral part. So I said that, okay, let's build machines. Let's build something. Let's figure out how it's built. So I built vehicles. I built a Formula student car. We figured that. Then I thought, okay, this is what I've done. I've understood.
So you built an actual formula like a student car.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, right, as a student, it's a big thing, but hindsight, looking back at it, we feel like we could have done much better. Yeah. So but I think that's
you're
the
being
case
humble,
with
but yeah, like you led that effort, and I think
yeah. So that joint effort, it teaches you a lot. It's a big thing in itself to bring together 20-30 people and working on a project like that year long, putting in those hours, 16 hours, 17 hours apart from academics, including academic 16 hours, I would say. So that was the first phase of my college. The first 2 years I was doing this. Then I figured that, okay, now I've figured out how to build machines in general, what all goes in there. what about the intelligence part of it? So I was like, okay, where's the intelligence part of it? So then I started chasing, okay, how do I control these machines? So I studied control systems. I was fascinated by
Yeah, I also really liked the control system. Like that was something really new way of looking at,
yes,
how you can
yes,
control
yes.
machines. Yeah.
So then you eventually reach a point where it naturally leads you to a path where you get introduced to, okay, like AI is coming up now. Everyone is talking about it. There are self-driving vehicles. Since I was mostly in the automotive space, self-driving vehicles were coming up at that time. They were the hot topic. They are still the hot topic, but they were like the new hot topic in town. And I was like, okay, let's figure out. Okay, I've built a vehicle. I know how to do it. How are they giving this intelligence so they are driving? So then I said, maybe towards the end of my say college, I started exploring that part, and that's how I ended up being into AI, practicing
And
it
now
and stuff.
none of us like I got an AI internship, but even me out of college, I didn't go. My first job had nothing to do with AI. You also, I'm not sure, did you do your first
No,
job?
no.
You did it in electric vehicles, I
Yes,
think, right?
yes.
So this is not a typical path someone who is leading a data science team is going to take, right?
Yeah.
This is very unconventional.
Yeah.
So I think this is just an example, and it's a very important example for students who are studying right now. That look, boss, you don't have to follow one path. You don't have to fight for that one thing. Like explore, learn, like be genuine, like focus on excellence.
I think that curiosity to know, like, how is this working, what's happening behind the scenes. I think that curiosity is what kind of helps you excel in whatever you do. Right?
Yeah, like you should genuinely want to learn that thing.
Yeah.
And you should genuinely be trying to solve a real problem. As far as that is concerned, I think you will do well. Yeah.
So how was your we have talked about college, we have talked about how that transformed us as people, some qualities that built, like, for curiosity, problem solving, deconstruction of a problem statement and all that. But now coming to after college, right? What did you do after college? So you talked about earlier in the show that you worked with Topper initially, which is part of Byju's now, I guess, right? Then you were with Bosch doing some.
So essentially, I had a job in Korea. It was in data science actually.
Okay. So before joining, you had an offer from.
I had a pre-placement offer.
Okay, nice.
But what happened was there were some visa issues. I couldn't go, and then it was taking too much time. I just took a risk, and at that time again, like I said, I was very confused about what I want to do, and product management seemed like an interesting thing. I couldn't find good AI jobs in India at that point of time. Maybe I didn't look hard enough. Maybe I was chilling. I was not.
That was again this year. We are talking about 2019, right?
2019, yeah.
I think even the jobs were less, and I think the skilled labor who can perform that job at that level were not there.
Was less. So I at that time product management was the thing, and I think even now it is quite the trend.
Yes.
So I saw this role as a associate product manager at Topper.com. It was one of India's leading edtech firms at that time.
But this was through campus placements?
No,
or?
it was like I applied there off campus, and I had a senior of mine who was already part of that team. So I tried to understand what are the problems they are facing. I tried to honestly, it was very different than what I'm doing. There was no AI involved at all. But then I prepared again. Of course, that structured problem solving helps you. So you did case studies, you did all those things to clear a product management interview, and you gamed the interview and you got it.
So what was your role in Topper? Like what were you doing there?
So anyone who gets hired as any kind of product role out of college goes into pure execution. Like they are not actually product managers. So you have a product vision.
Okay.
Like, look, this is the app, these are the features we're going to build, and that's decided by someone who's at a much senior level. And then the guy who's like out of college will be more in the execution, like get this design from the designer to the developer, explain it to him, make sure it gets shipped on time, that kind of a role, and a lot of data. Actually, that's where some interest in AI also came back, I would say there was a lot of data which I used to analyze on a daily basis. And we had we were India's leading, we were leading India in free traffic for EdTech at that point of time in 2019, 2020.
Okay.
And there was a lot of data which we had to analyze to understand user behavior. To understand user behavior, to understand who are our most retained users, who are our most active users.
So you mentioned you were seeing a lot of data, right? So this is something I have also personally experienced. But when you see a lot of data, does it change the way you look at things, or does it help you anchor that okay, this is not something that can be done manually? You need something more intelligent. Is that where the seeping stones of getting into AI was sown, or was it later into your career?
No, that is true. I think one fundamental skill you need to accept if you are going into AI is that you have to deal with a lot of data. And actually, most of your job is data, and it's not a sexy job like, I have a neural network and I'm going to train it. You have to do a lot of data crunching, data set analysis, make sure your data set is perfect before you can actually train that model. And I think that's where a large amount of money is spent by these companies. At that time, that was definitely a point where my curiosity stepped in, and I was like, why can't we use AI to do this sort of analysis?
So is that when you decided to change, or what was like? So this is also a question or burning question for a lot of people, right? They are there at a job, they are doing something nice, interesting, maybe not. But when you are doing something interesting, and how do you decide to change, or what was that tipping point for you when you decided that okay, now I should switch? Or is there a correct time in your opinion?
See, I think it's very difficult to give a objective answer to that, but for me, it was a combination of a lot of factors. One is I kind of felt like that EdTech bubble was going to burst. Okay, and my role over here, I had stopped learning now, so I was trying to just all this intelligence you've gathered. You've done JEE, you've learned physics, you've learned you can code, you can do so many things, and now you are in this place where you are actually managing, but you're not applying your hard skills and doing something. It felt really like I didn't get that satisfaction at that point of time. So, and at that time in Bosch, there was this really exciting role, they were working in self-driving vehicles, and at that time Tesla and all was catching up, right? So that was very exciting, and I decided to switch, and I think that was one of my maybe formal introductions to full-time data science. And that was very different. At that time, when I dedicatedly got paid to do data science, is when I think I really learned how to what was wrong with my approach in college, basically, and how data science should actually be approached.
So I think that this education part about data science, right? The time where we were learning about it in college, I think AI education was also picking up. There were no structured. So for example, if you could look at say competitive coding or say software engineering itself, you had very structured courses about it. You had very structured lessons about it, that this is how you should approach, this is where you can practice. But I think for AI, it was all still coming together, not very competitive courses out there which would teach you.
Even still, I would say.
There is still scope. It has become better over the years. But I think since the field was so nascent, it got exploded in 2012, I think, with the AlexNet, if I'm not wrong. And then it exploded. So it was still coming to India, I guess. And I think that's why this also lack of how do you approach a data science problem. So we knew, I think, how to approach a problem in general, and that's why at least we could reach a place where we could do it in production. But that formal education sometimes also plays a role, right?
I also feel, for us to actually learn how to do good AI, okay, there might be some brilliant people who might have just learned it by themselves. They looked at these online forums, they looked at some people who are doing that cutting edge research. But if you look at India and people who are teaching AI, I think it is very difficult to expect that they themselves know a lot about AI, because AI itself is a fairly recent
Exactly,
field.
yeah. That's what the point I was bringing, that the education in itself was picking up. Like people
Yeah.
are still figuring out. Even the experts in the field were figuring out. Okay, I understand this, but then how do I teach it to someone?
Yeah.
That also needs a kind of
Yeah.
practice in itself.
And I also feel even today, that is, it's not like people have understood how ChatGPT works, etc. There are theories, but there is a lot of previously science used to be more, I think, deterministic. Now it's about modeling problems. And it's, you can kind of explain why something happens, but not exactly. Like, you know, okay, this is a model and this works on this data, this solves this problem. But do you understand that? I think you don't fundamentally understand models, and maybe that's not needed also. Like our humans' ability to understand is very low.
Yep. I think that's a very interesting point. Let's come back to that a bit later. But we were still discussing this journey of your career, right? And how did you? So you said that earlier in college you were very unsure about what you wanted to do or what field you wanted to explore. So how did you build up that clarity over the years? So you talked about what were you doing in the college? You were still not very sure that you wanted to pick this up, but are you clear now that what you want to do, and how did that clarity build up after you came out of college, and how your experiences helped you develop that clarity?
Yeah. So
and the reason why this question is also important is because there are a lot of youngsters like us. We are all like what, 25, 26, 27. We are also figuring out what exactly we want to do with our lives. Like we still have some 40 odd years to go. And whenever I have conversations with people who are, say, 3 years younger to us, 4 years younger to us, still in college, I still feel that the path, like, to get this clarity is very important, right? So coming back to the question, how did you develop this clarity that this is what I want to do right now?
So I'll tell you why I didn't get clarity before I go into how I
Yeah,
got
that's
clarity.
also an important thing to discuss, right? Because as I said, it's the case with almost all of us. I would say, right? Very rarely people have that super clarity that this is what I want to do.
Yeah. See, for me, I think one of the reasons I didn't get clarity is I didn't find a person who was, let's say, 5 years or 10 years older than me, and I could look at him and say, this is what I want to be 5 to 10 years down the line, you know. I didn't find a person like that. I'm not saying everyone else is bad, but they had their unique
So
positions.
just to stop you here, when you say you couldn't find, is it like there were no proper mediums to find, or you tried different mediums but you couldn't find the perfect match?
I think there are always, I mean, mediums to find, but I tried and I didn't find anyone.
Okay.
So
it was not so easy to find someone who you can.
Yeah, like I was not like, look, this guy has had this guy has done exactly what I am supposed to do, so I'm gonna follow his steps. You know, I'm just gonna do what he has done. I'm hopefully gonna reach where he has reached. It was never like that. It was always, okay, this guy has done this. These are his strengths and these are his weaknesses. I'll focus on what he has done right, but I cannot do the wrong things. So yeah, coming back to clarity, right? I think firstly, I got a lot of things out of the way. Finance, I hated. I did CF 11-1. I'm like, I cannot do finance. This is completely man-made. I like building stuff. I cannot, work on made-up stuff. Money is made up. It's fundamentally important, but not for me. Okay. Then I did some basic product management, and I really felt that you cannot just be managers. You know, you really have to understand what you are managing to be effective. And that's what I lacked in my first job. Unless you understand, like, how can you build cutting edge technologies? Like Tesla wouldn't be there, or SpaceX wouldn't be there if Elon Musk didn't understand how an electric vehicle works. Now, not that you have to understand everything, but you should have a
A
very good idea.
general
Yeah.
idea about
Yeah.
what's going in there.
Yeah, so then product management as a career was out of the way.
So you tried finance to a level. You said that okay, now you're not liking. You tried product management. It was
Yeah.
out of way.
Then data science, right? Now I like data science. I like doing data science. But more importantly, I think it was important what kind of a problem you are working on. Do you have the right mentorship and do you have the right people to finance solving that problem? I think in my first job, it was some of those things were there, some of those things were not there. Like I really felt I needed some more freedom in terms of what I am supposed to be working on, and I needed to work at a faster pace. I needed to work with a better peer group, and that's where I kind of tried something new. I tried to go into a startup, and I became a lead PM, where I also worked on data science problems, by the way.
So kind of a AI product manager.
AI product
kind of
manager,
thing.
yes,
Okay.
yes. So we built a legal AI assistant. We built so fundamentally something like Google search, but on legal judgments, Indian legal judgments.
Interesting.
We built a lot of interesting finance tax-based applications, and that has been a good learning journey, I would say. Did I get clarity that I want to do AI still? No, I would say that was a personal event which led to that clarity.
Okay, so let's talk about it. Like you said, there was this journey, right? And you were eventually doing AI product management, and now there is a mention of a personal event, say. So this how the personal. So we were talking about professional events, what were shaping your career decisions, but a lot of times we skip discussing how the personal events shape up your career or your choices in general or your dreams, I would say.
No, I think we really, really underplay the importance of those personal events. I think what we don't realize when we make career choices is that a career is not just something you do to earn money. It's going to define your image in the society. It's going to define what you're going to spend the most time learning and doing. It's going to be almost like, for some people, everything about themselves. For some people, a large part of their lives. And so the personal events are very important. Your personal preferences of what kind of a life you want to live is very important. And for me, I think I wanted to solve these exciting problems. I wanted to always do something new, something which was not already done before. I also I think there was some events in my life, like particularly the first time I saw a person die is when I kind of realized the importance of doing new things, really shaping yourself in your career to be in a position to solve death. I would say that is my fundamental aim in life.
So basically, I think this brings you more close to life and solving problems, fundamental problems about life. Whatever tools, right? Maybe whatever tools we choose, but you're saying that brought you closer towards doing exciting things before the event to say solving things very fundamental to life in general.
Yeah. Like it became more about you have a life goal, and how do you now, whatever position you are in life, align yourself to achieve that life goal.
Okay.
And my life goal is to solve aging primarily. Like if I earn like X number of dollars by a certain age, I hope I will be happy enough to give everything to solve that aging problem, so I can live maybe 30-40 years longer. How AI is helping to do that, I think that's a very interesting discussion to.
Yeah. So we'll come back to that where how AI is or say helping you do solve very challenging problems like aging, right? It's not something really understood, but I just want to go back to after your after college journey and understand that you did your bachelor's in mechanical, right? What was some of the reasons you went for a product manager role but did not try something in the core? Or what do you feel is something missing in the core industry in India? I would say mechanical, chemical, civil, and biotech. That's missing out there. Why people are not choosing that?
Yeah, so see, firstly, I think the financial incentives to go into the core sector were not there. Now I think it's coming up with all the semiconductors, and there are some mechanical units also which are hiring. But at that time, it was not much. And secondly, as a student, as a bachelor student, like I think it's very difficult to really make an impact in mechanical field. It's a more it's an older, more mature field, I would say. And now to make any fundamental changes, you need a lot of capital investment, I feel. So you have built formula, so you were in the student formula team, and you built a formula vehicle. So I think you will know about it. So why didn't you? I mean, you were in mechanical, right? Like I really thought you would go into that field, but then you didn't. What was your reason?
So we were talking about my college journey, right? I ended up towards the end. I ended up exploring computer vision, how self-driving vehicles actually work behind the scenes. Then through the placements, so I sat for the college placements. I was very sure I didn't want to do programming, consulting, analytics, all that stuff.
You had clarity.
Yeah, so I had that clarity. I had two companies who were coming for, so as you said, right, opportunities were less. Just two companies coming in. I sat for, so there was a startup, Torque Motors, and then I think day 10. So this is day 2, Torque Motors is coming, day 10, Mahindra is coming, that's it. So those were only two I interested. I sat for the Torque Motors. I think we were just 4 people who were contesting for it. So I got through, right? So that's where I started. So my journey after college actually started in pure like mechanical EV industry, which was still picking up, had a lot of jobs. And that industry has also boomed over the years. I have seen it transform. But at least it was a bit pre-age, I would say, there, right? So that was also the time we had graduated. There was a bit pre-age, and with startups, like sometimes happens that if you don't play the cards right, it kind of doesn't work out. So our time with Torque Motors didn't work out. They had a very great product, very great team, but at least the timing, I guess, was not there. So I had to leave, and then I think next year COVID hit, right? So that was a very interesting period for me, because then that's where I got into another startup in Bangalore, explored a bit about in-cabin monitoring systems for vehicles, like detecting driver drowsiness, but I had no real experience as to say work on AI models, right? Even as someone who has not worked a lot with programming languages, I was like very new to it. So I started there. Well, a lot of factors came in. I learned a lot over the 3 months, but then again I had to leave, or I would say we had to depart basically. I was not fit. The skill set was not up to the level which was needed for a startup which was growing at that pace. And but it was a very great learning experience. So those 3 months I think were a very transforming.
You were building like to see if someone falls asleep behind the
Exactly.
wheel.
So it alerts the vehicle. So these are like in-cabin monitoring systems. It's like a standard thing now, at least in the premium segment of the industry. So they detect if the driver is drowsy or if he's not attentive.
I think with trucks it will be a great use case, right?
Where,
you have like long journeys and one driver.
Yes.
So
yes.
Okay.
Yes. So that's also a primary segment for it, and also with the cars, like right. So this 3 months stint with that startup in Bangalore, I think it was a very transformative journey for me. And that's where I understood how data can, like, not just so AI comes later, data comes first, right? We talked about data is like the heart of AI. So I understood how data, and in my previous experience also at Torque, I was looking into use cases that can I prematurely tell that a motor is going to fault or there is some problem that's going to happen with your systems. It can alert the user so that they get a preemptive maintenance and stuff. And it was all based on the data that you're collecting. So at least one thing I was very clear that I want to work with data, whatever industry be it in, and I want to build smart systems using that data, right? So after this stint, I was exploring opportunities.
So you tried to go into core, like you went into EV stuff, but there you discovered there are applications in the automobile industry
Exactly.
where you have a lot of data coming in, and with that data you can build AI.
Exactly.
And then you
I mean, not just AI, very smart. I would say there is different facets to AI, right? So I would say smart algorithms. You can call it AI, right? It's some sort of intelligence. And it has a lot of various applications. Maybe even before, so self-driving, for example, when we say it's like a overarching thing, but even say in manufacturing, even in say small systems which go into your vehicle or in manufacturing, you still have very small use cases there.
So every part of the supply chain, every part of the manufacturing process, there are use cases which AI can come in and make it cheaper, easier, faster, more accurate.
So overall, in the first year of my say after college professional experience, I got introduced to AI as a tool which can transform anything that you touch, wherever data is coming in and wherever you feel that there is more scope to make it better, right? So that's where I also understood that as of now, all these core industries that we talk about, they are also in a transformative phase, and the jobs there are also kind of hybrid now. It's not like you would just do pure mechanical stuff, because as you said, the number of fundamental problems to solve there have reduced a lot, right? But to make it more better, to improve it better, you now have to be hybrid. You have to understand, okay, how can I solve issues faster? How can I get the bugs faster? This is where this was the introduction to AI as a tool which I can use at various places. So then I was like then exploring this is like a second phase of my professional experience. After that 1 year, it was very turbulent. 2 startups, journey didn't work out, right?
And now you are working as a data scientist in the self-driving vehicles team.
I work with as a senior data scientist at Bosch, their video perception team. So basically, my job is to build the heart which kind of understands the environment through cameras, right? So I build sections of it, not the whole part. Obviously, it's a very big deal, but yeah, just a cog in the wheel, I would say.
But essentially, what you're trying to do is get the vehicle to run on its own. Is it in India or some other countries you're focusing on?
So as of now, the focus is not in India, right? It's still overseas market, I would say.
But and there is some self-driving startup, I think, in India which has come, no?
Yes. So it's also an interesting space. So when I was graduating from college, I also had an offer from one of the startups in Bangalore, who was building this self-driving kits for trucks, and I think US was their primary market, but they were building it in India.
So a kit which can plug into any truck and
I think that's what they were trying to do, right? I did not explore a lot. They were still, I think, very early, I would say. At that point, they were still a decent team, but early. I mean, I was not sure of what stage they are in. But then I really wanted to explore the core part of my expertise, right? Because that's what I have spent more time with. So I thought maybe this EV industry is booming up. I still want to understand how these vehicles are transforming. So that was the thought process. But yeah, as I said, right, over a year, I got into a space where I understood that, okay, I want to make things more efficient through data. Wherever data is coming in, I think I want to understand how can I make this process better, faster, efficient. Right?
I think, so this is a very different journey to
Yeah,
get into
yeah.
data science. Very unconventional applications. Not now. I think now
Yes,
it's
yes.
yeah, but at that time it was very unconventional what we were working on, and yeah, I think some level of risk taking ability you need where you don't go and do what everyone is doing, like you try
Yeah,
things.
I think that's the core of it, right? So, for example, even say with building this Formula Student vehicles, or even say taking up this decision of going into a AI startup, uh, for which I did not have the skill set. I was like, okay, let's take that risk. Let's put ourselves into a place where there is no other place to go. So you are against the wall, and then you have to build up your skill sets. So I think that ability kind of helped me get through these situations and bring me to a place where now I can take in a problem statement, build a solution for it, and deploy it in the world.
So now, like, you are confident you can take up at least most AI problems and at least structure it, like find a structured approach to solving that AI.
Yeah, so I think over the years and being close to data, I would say, it has built an intuition in general that this is how any problem where data is involved, AI is involved, has to be structured. Maybe the underlying algorithms, I am not, I would say I'm a practitioner of AI as of now. I'm not an expert, I'm not a researcher to say, but I know intuitively that this is what we might need to do, and I get it done.
Do you think, like, what part of your experience would you say is like most critical for someone who is new into data science to have to maybe not go through the challenges which we faced, where we didn't have that structured approach?
Yeah,
What
yeah.
should they do? Like, at least I'm starting out, I understand basic what AI is, etc. But now what should I do?
Yeah, so I think once we have this clarity, right, that AI is the field I want to try out, I think the first thing is get your basic programming skills sorted out, right? You don't need very fancy ones like, yeah, I mean, you won't need design patterns or say very complex system designs to start with. You just need to get the very basics of data structures and very basic algorithms sorted. So I think that's one fundamental.
Any programming language?
Exactly.
Python, I think, is
Python is the most relevant, I would say, for at least for the data science field. And then I would say just spend time with data for at least a month. Any challenge you pick, there are a lot of challenges which are out there in open, a lot of data sets which are out there in open. Uh, you just pick one which fascinates you, right? There are a lot of use cases out in open. It can be as simple as say I want to transform my face into elephant, or say a bear, right? On my image, right? It can be as simple as that. But then and you have ready-made solutions for it as of now, right? But understand what data was used there. I think spending time with data initially, so that's like, I would say, the step 2. And then step 3 is also these understanding this higher dimension vectors, I would say. I think that's something that's a big barrier to entry. So you know, right? I mean,
fundamentally understanding like what that network is trying to achieve.
Yeah. So if you go more deeper, right, to the base of these networks is higher dimension vectors or matrices. Now the problem with higher dimension vectors and matrices is like till 3 dimensions you can experience it, right?
Yeah, like
you can see like
you have
X, Y, Z. You can see in the room,
and you have
right?
time, so 4 dimensions
Exactly,
you can
yeah.
experience.
If you include time, the fourth. But as soon as we start dealing with say higher dimensions, 4, 5, 10, 16, whatever, it's difficult to grasp, right? The intuition is a bit hard to develop. So you have to read it again and again and again, maybe code it out, see it step by step. Not like, okay, matrix multiplication is done, but then to build that intuition of what actually that matrix multiplication means. I think that would, I would say, the step 3. Once that is understood, I think every algorithm is built on top of it, so it becomes a bit easier.
I think, but one problem at least I have seen what something which people do wrong, freshers do wrong, is that they take some model or some API which is already working, they run it on like just run that script,
Yeah.
and they think they have built a speech to text or text to speech or a image classifier or any model.
Yeah.
I would say that is just the first step for you to understand this is what the model is capable of doing.
Yes.
But then you need to spend a lot of time trying to understand where the model is not working or
Yeah.
make it work for your use case.
Exactly.
That's where I think we lose most of
Yeah, so I think this is also a very important point to understand, right? So I have been someone who has been taking interviews for our teams for say freshers and some initial roles, and I felt that you would have also taken interviews, and you also know the ratios. The ratios are very less, like the number of people who apply versus who get in for that role is very less. And I think this fundamental thing that you told is also very crucial. So I would rather hire a person who has done just one project in his CV but gone into very very depth of it. Like he knows the in and out of it, built it step by step, experienced it step by step, rather than a person who has six very fancy projects but just using the APIs.
Yeah.
And you ask one in-depth question and any interviewer would understand. Like whoever has gone through that in-depth process would know that, okay, this is just using a GitHub repo or an API. And that doesn't work out in the world.
Yeah, and I think this is another place where having a strategy to solve a complex problem over a period of time helps.
Yes.
Yes. It's not like you pick a model and in a day it's going to start working. You'll have so many issues. You have to keep going, keep looking for solutions to it, dive deeper, have a priority list. So that's where, for me personally, I think that JEE journey everything is.
So that perseverance of and getting excited by hard problems, first of all, deconstructing the hard problems, and then also time boxing it. It's not like you can. I mean, the field has exploded so much in previous years. You can easily get overwhelmed, but then time boxing that, okay, this I want to learn this much in this, and I don't want to care about what's going on in the field. Right? It's very easy to get fascinated by, oh, something new has come, so let's read that also. I would say time box, strategize, and stick to it.
Right. So I think our like one-liner advice to freshers would be pick a problem in AI, find a model which works for it, run it, but then try to see where it is lagging or what you can do to make it work on your data, and then work on it, go deeper, do the hard work, get a mentor maybe who will guide you, and dive into it without you getting, let's say, 100 plus hours on a single project. I don't think you will make any difference.
So there is a famous quote about Andre Karpathy, right? He's the like head of autopilot in Tesla.
Used to be.
He used to be. He left, I guess. So he spent, the ImageNet is like a very well-known image data set out there. I'm not sure if it was ImageNet or Coco, but he spent labeling that data set by his own. Like, and he sat there day in, day out, understood what data is going into his model, right? So, I mean, if a person at that level, and I think that's where the understanding builds.
Yeah, one thing is, AI work is not always going to be sexy. It'll take some time to become sexy, but there is a lot of grunt work where you just sit with data and you just keep cleaning it.
I think that's with all the fields, right? I mean, every field that appears good or sexy from outside, you eventually have to go through a grunt work. So that's like everything. I mean,
and I think that's with everyone who is successful. People are not just successful with doing fancy talks and high level understanding of things. When you really do the grunt work is when you really understand and you become an expert in that field. We were talking about personal motives.
Exactly. So we talked about how did you reach this clarity, and then we got back to discussing that what was the journey and how you got into this, and what was your before and after goal of after that personal or life moment, I would say. So yeah,
I think we should dive deeper into that personal reason for choosing that field. Why personally AI? See, of course, now we have talked about professionally how we got introduced to AI, how we became good in AI, but I mean, ultimately, it's not about professionally, okay, someone is paying me to do it and I am skilled in this, so I'm doing it, right? Why you? or what motivates you to keep going into this field, and what motivates you to solve this problem? I think, see, for me, I mean, I have a simple answer, but it's a very deep answer, but maybe we can start with you, like you can.
So I think I feel, as I said, right, that first initial turbulent period of my career, I figured that AI in itself is a tool that can help me pursue the internal dream I had as a child. Like I want to build smart machines, and this is a tool which is not just now affecting my life, but I also see it having a bigger impact on society. Um, and that's how it fascinates me. Like I want to go deeper into it. I want to say understand it properly and still pursue that dream of building smarter machines later. I mean, so it's like an intermediate stepping stone that I want to understand a tool which I feel will have a very large impact on human society. I want to understand it, and then I want to do good for human society, or at least not that. There is a more fundamental reason to it, that as a person, I always wanted things that eases out my life, so I can spend time doing more creative things, or maybe having that freedom to do whatever I wish to do in a particular day, right? And it can switch very frequently. So at least the more cumbersome parts of my life I wanted to ease out, and that's where this fascination with smart intelligent machines is.
So I think for you it has always, like, it's continued, you know, it's
Yes,
a continued like since maybe pre JEE you know smart machines, and the more you've gone into it, the more it's solidified.
Yes.
And now it is it's an answer which is coming through AI.
Exactly.
So you are, I think, going into it. That's, I think, you are very lucky in that way.
I don't know.
Like it's not clarity is, I think, a privilege which a lot of people don't have. Like I did not have it, and it's also a different journey when you don't have clarity.
I mean, I would say it's either a clarity or a decision, right? So I think it's kind of a mix of both. The clarity may also come with the decision that, okay, I don't care, I just want to do this. I mean, this is what I felt good. And maybe it also happens sometimes that maybe in this process you have to do things which you didn't felt good about, but then it's a part of the process. So it's a mix of clarity and decision for me, that okay, I've taken this decision, I just want to make it good. I just want to give my 100%.
So you stick to your decisions, like you've taken a decision and now you go through, you follow up with it. Yeah.
But coming to your reason, right? It was a bit more personal.
See, I mean, I have always been confused, and it would be very surprising. I would say that one thing happened which suddenly has brought clarity in your life. But that did happen. I mean, I had never seen someone die, and I saw someone die very slowly over a long period of time. Someone who was very close to me, and that kind of and made me understand that your time here is limited, but also how gruesome, painful, unsexy death is. And it made it hurt my ego that why are we dying, you know? Like, why are humans supposed to die? I mean, plastic can just stay in the universe for such a long time, or I mean, there are so many things which just stay. Even I think there are some living organisms which don't die. Like when you cut it, it just becomes two and stuff like that. Very difficult to die. So
it's a different thing, but
it's a different thing. But still, like, it was the general idea of why are we dying, man? Like, and it seems like a problem no one is talking about. So I researched about it, and then I saw, oh, people are actually talking about it. So there is this professor in Harvard University. His name is David Sinclair.
Okay.
They primarily work on aging research.
Okay.
How humans can live beyond 100 years. So I really felt whatever my aim is in life, whether my aim is to build self-driving vehicles or to go to space or to, I don't know, build a sexy software, if I live longer, I have higher probability of achieving those things, and I have more time to explore these things. And I will also be financially wealthier because my wealth will compound over a longer period of time.
Okay. So you want to kind of understand death, like why it's happening from a biological, scientific perspective.
Yes, and solve it, like reverse engineer it, and then.
But how do you feel AI plays a crucial role, or how AI plays a role in achieving that dream of yours?
So I think when I read more about this, what I realized is, as you age, what happens is your cells, like the genome in your cells, it gets more damaged. You are essentially your cells are becoming more generic. Like your eye cell becomes closer to your skin cell becomes closer to your liver cell. You are essentially becoming, like, now you are a really complex mechanism. You are becoming less and less complex as you die. Entropy is increasing. So when I read about that and how people are trying to solve that, there is a lot of bioinformatics which takes place in order to model how you can decorrupt this aging. Like your cell should not corrupt essentially over time, and the decorrupting mechanisms, the way to decorrupt this, you have something like called an epigenome, which is essentially a copy of your genome, and it can be used to, let's say you have a CD, right, and there's a lot of scratches on those CD. If you had a hard copy in your computer, you can essentially take that hard copy and write it on a new CD, and it's fine again. The CD's life increases. It's the same idea, and to do that, there is a lot of AI which is used in bioinformatics. I think that is one of the reasons why AI excites me. And there is this project by DeepMind, I think AlphaFold.
Yes, the discovering the proteins, protein structures for different things, I guess.
Yeah. So protein structure modeling, I think that's an exciting project. So there are a lot of exciting applications of AI in biology, but primarily for me it was, look, this is the skill set I have achieved so far. I really like AI. Let me explore it more, understand it really well, and whatever way I am able to influence biology later in my life, it could be through investing in AI, it could be through me personally building this thing. I have to somehow figure out how to solve aging. I think for me that has been...
that's the drive as of now.
Yeah, that's the goal. Like that is the life goal, and I frankly don't see something more important than that which I should do.
So if you look at AI as from a third eye or a bird eye perspective, it seems like it has changed the way problem formulation is done, right? Earlier, I think with say mathematics, say before the advent of these all these algorithms with AI and stuff, we always thought that how do I model this?
In an understandable manner.
Exactly. Yeah.
Earlier you wanted to understand the solution. Now you want to, this is a data distribution, and just model the answer.
Yeah. So how do you feel like now you have seen the AI journey, probably read about the history of it? How do you feel where it's going, especially with the advent of this generative AI and say large language models and stuff? Where do you see it going?
So yeah, like I was saying, artificial general intelligence is something which people are trying to achieve. I think we are a long way from it. There are some, I think, really interesting applications of AI which are coming out there, and there is a lot of discussion about AI which didn't happen previously, which is now happening. I think, but there are some concerns also, like particularly because these models are very expensive to run and they are very large. So that is concerning. And
I think also the way, I mean, it's not very factual, right? I mean,
yeah, it hallucinates, it produces a lot of misinformation. So there are two sets of people. One set of people who are like AI doomers, like this is all going to like take over the world and everything, and one set of people who are saying, no, look, this is going to help us, this is going to make humanity better, it's going to take care of a lot of our problems. I am on this side where I feel it will really help us, but I do see cost of compute and the size of models as a big barrier for anyone who is trying to go into AI.
Yeah. So
right
when
now.
you say cost of compute, right, how it has affected this whole revolution? Like, do you feel it has been say, integral barrier to it, or an integral push forward for driving forward the whole AI space?
So, I mean, as of the people who really build AI, like the data scientists, etc., right? If they want to learn how to build a model, earlier they could run it on their laptops, right? Or they had some free resources using which they can test it out. Now, you cannot run a model like ChatGPT on your laptop, right? How do you learn about it? How do you fundamentally tinker and understand those things? That is a problem, and I feel unless you get into those organizations who have the money and the resources to host that sort of computers, it's very difficult to get skilled in that, and I think that's unfair. There are a lot of smaller models out there, but most of the papers show that larger the models, the better it is.
Okay. So you feel that it has to be more democratic in the way we are approaching this, just because it can give back to society a bit more.
Yeah, like I feel I think we need AI to do good for the society, and we need a lot more people to have access to AI. It should not be concentrated in the hands of a few people.
Yeah, so in that space, right, there is this open source community which has been, I think, a very pivotal for bringing AI to this say frontal or the foyer of it, right? It has become a hot topic. Everyone talks about it. Everyone knows about it. So, what do you feel is the contribution of the open source community towards this?
No, I think it is incredible what the open source community has done. I think without open source today, we would have all been very worried that look, some companies have built these models which are fundamentally could take away so many jobs, or I don't know, fundamentally change the way the economy works. But now that you have open sourced a lot of models, and a lot of models have shown to perform better than, let's say, ChatGPT in certain cases at least, there is a hope that the concentration of power will not be in a single place, and it will be more accessible to everyone who understands it. So
so to sum up what we were discussing, I think you feel that compute is something that's a barrier, that has been a barrier, and I think democratizing that compute would or at least bringing those costs down would maybe inspire more people or enable more people and bring out their ideas, implement more stuff.
Yeah, I think it will definitely lead more people to try out AI. I think they can still try it out. You don't really have to start with a ChatGPT size model. You can take a smaller model, you can work on it, you can see what's the best performance you can get out of that, and that will be good enough for you to build a pilot which will help you learn. I really think this is the time Moore's law really needs to work out, where the size of these or the cost of compute needs to become much lesser, and it should happen.
So, summing our whole episode up, what is one advice that you would like to give to, say, freshers or youngsters out there who might be confused like you have been, and since you have gone through that journey, crossed those hurdles, what is one advice that you would like to give out to people?
Don't be scared of going through unconventional paths. Okay, like explore as much as you can, but come out with a conclusion. Like, don't explore halfway and leave it. Come out with a conclusion that you're going to go into this or you're not going to go into this, and do the hard work it takes to get that conclusion. That I think is very important. AI is a great field. I think if you put in the hard work, there are a lot of open source free resources out there to help you learn about AI. And I think we'll also be creating some interesting material around it very soon to help people learn more about AI and how they can go deeper into this field.
So it was great having Sudarshan with us today.
We talked a lot about our personal and professional experiences, how we got into AI, how we learned different things through our journeys, and how we feel that AI is a pivotal tool for upbringing the society. We also talked a bit about what are some of the entry barriers to AI, and there are also a lot of things that needs to be discovered in the field. So, in the series of episodes that are yet to come, we'll be bringing in experts from different fields who will share their experiences about AI and how it's transforming their personal and professional lives. So, stay tuned for more such interesting episodes. See you in the next episode.